Hi, I'm Nina Sher. We're back again today in Delmar, New York, Albany's capital region. And, you know, I always like to educate my buyers and sellers on different aspects of real estate. And so we're here today with Dave Gordon at his beautiful home in Delmar. And we're going to be discussing solar panels, everything you've always wanted to know about solar panels. So, Dave, can you just, hi, thank you for doing this, and can you give us a little bit of a brief overview about how they work?
Sure. Well, the power of the sun is great, and it hits the panels when the sun's out. Even when it's not, on a cloudy day, you'll get a decent amount of sun energy that hits the panels. The panel will convert that to electricity, and that goes to an inverter. So the electricity from the panels does not go directly to our house. It goes into the grid, and we're still purchasing power back from the grid as we always do. But we get offsets for every the amount of electricity we're providing to the grid. So it's an exchange kind of system, and when there's a power outage, we do not have power. But we are creating our energy and getting offsets to offset our bill.
Okay, well, I think we should come on inside and we'll talk about some of the other aspects of solar panels. Thank you. Okay.
So where should we start?
Okay. Well, how long have you had the solar panels?
We've had the panels about 3.5 years, and we've been happy with them. There've been no issues or no service issues or anything we've had to do. It's been totally maintenance free, so that's been handy. And we decided to lease our panels. Okay. So we have a 20-year lease, and it was set up by Sungevity, which is something to check in as the company you're working with. Sungevity was a California company referred by a friend, so we knew they were in the area. The installation, they subcontracted to Monolith Solar, which is a local company that has a big presence. And so we knew that that was reputable. And the system was set up as a lease to so we're paying about $60 a month for the panels, okay, which offsets what we were paying for electricity and our normal bill.
Did you have any other costs with the initial startup?
No, I think we may have put like $1,000 down or something minimal.
Okay. Can I ask you, so when you decided to do the solar panels and after investigating the cost, what about the roof situation? Did they have requirements for the age of the roof or other considerations?
And that's important because the panels we've contracted for 20 years. There should be a fix to the roof for at least 20 years. They'll continue working beyond that. But the roof life is important because if the roof needs replacing a couple years after you put the panels on, then you've got to take them all off, and that's a big problem. So yeah, we did have the roof inspected, and it is supposed to be lasting at least as long as the panels. So you want to make sure that you're not going to have roof changes once the panels are on.
Right, and if you're going to purchase a house and you have an inspection, you have to make sure that everything is functioning properly, and if it isn't, then so as a seller you have to be on top of that situation too.
Right. Yeah, you want to know where that stands, and
right.
I don't know if there's ever issues with the installation, if you ever get leaks where they've done some installation in an inappropriate manner or something. So yeah, you definitely want to check the aspects of installation.
And if you have a problem with the solar panels, there's something malfunctioning or something breaks, what do you do?
Because we have a lease, we do have a contract where they're taking care of the panels. So if we outright purchase them and we own them from day one, we wouldn't have that support. So check into the companies you're dealing with, even though our company, Sungevity, has changed hands because of financial reasons. Our contract is still in
other
place.
company, that's happened with other companies too.
Yeah, you want to make sure you get a sense of who you're dealing with, so you know who to go through for service and all.
So has anything changed with the company? They've been sold, but how does that affect you?
Well, at this point, it hasn't affected us. We're still paying our monthly payment. As far as I know, we've got service in place, although we haven't tested that. One thing that has changed is we used to be able, on my phone, I had an app. I could at any time pull up how much energy I was producing, and the weekly, monthly, yearly. I could see everything that was happening in the system, and that functionality is no longer there. So I can't track it day to day, but
where do you? So not even on the web, you can't do that anymore.
No. So I haven't asked. Maybe there's a replacement, but I haven't pursued the details on that.
Yeah, so it's and it's hard to know when you go into one of these contracts what's going to happen in the future. So
right. So there are some wild cards there, perhaps, and we're not too concerned about it because we haven't any issues. But I can see potentially you'd want to know.
Do you have to do anything in particular to maintain the solar panels?
You really don't, and they rinse themselves with every rainstorm. We don't have to clean them, adjust them, or take care of them in any way. I'll just mention one thing as far as snow. The sunlight doesn't penetrate the snow particularly well, so it shuts off the effectiveness of it when they're covered with snow. But we don't pull the snow off of it or anything, but you do want to be careful because snow can shed off of it very quickly, and I was the unfortunate recipient of the full shedding of snow, and it flattened me, and it was kind of funny at the time. Nobody got hurt, but you do want to be a little careful if you've got it over a front door or a garage that where that snow might release all at once, more so than a typical roof would.
Right, that's for sure. So are there any real negatives that you would mention about
there haven't been, but again, we're committed for quite a few years, so there's a long future ahead of us where something may come up as far as a roof issue or a malfunction. There's not a whole lot of maintenance. It just goes to the inverter. If the inverter burns out or has troubles, then we're not equipped to do anything about that except call for help, and they're supposed to take care of that. So
you've had them on how long, and what's your lease time again?
About 3.5 years, and 20 years is the way the lease is set up.
So when you thought about getting them, did you think about how long are you going to be in the house? And
yeah, we thought we'd be here for a while. We didn't consider too much about resale. Based on the total cost of the unit, we figured it wasn't a huge percentage of the value of the house, but it is potentially an issue. We figured solar would have appeal to some and maybe a negative to others. We're fortunate everything's on the back side of the house, so it didn't disrupt the look of the house at all, which might be a concern for some people, perhaps not.
But I think from my experience with real estate, for most people it's a plus to have solar panels as long as the roof is in good shape, and if they are leased, that the buyers qualify to take over the lease financially, which hasn't been a problem with my buyers, but that is something that would need to be considered. But I think for most people it is a plus. Whether it's going to really raise the value of your house in dollar amount, maybe a little bit.
And the financial concerns were make sure you know who gets the benefit. If there are still federal and state benefits, tax rebates for installing panels, make sure you know who's getting those, because that was important to us, that we got the state benefit, the installer got the federal benefit. So that's one, and then just to look at your current usage and figure out what the total cost is going to be, per year with the panels and without the panels, and make sure you're not going to be spending more money. And the people who sell you the system should help you do that analysis, and it's worked out pretty much exactly the way they said it would. So I don't know if that's typical in the industry or not, but.
So you have a bill there, your National Grid bill, and do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, on the electric, I'm not sure if you can see this, but on the electric side, where we're using electricity all the time, you can see we've got from, May to September, October there, that it goes actually to zero. So we're not paying the utility for electricity during that time. And we're building up credits during the summer when we get a lot of sunshine and a lot of intense energy, and that credit builds up to the fall, and then in the winter we're using more electricity and we're not producing very much. So then we are still paying electricity through some of the winter months, but at a lesser amount than we would, lesser volume than we would have normally without the panels. So it's been a good system. I think we generate 6 megawatts per year, I think, is the value of how much we're generating.
So did you say how much you're saving per month since in electric costs?
We're saving very similar to what we're paying for the panels. If you average it out, we're probably saving maybe $100 a year with the panels, which doesn't sound like much because it's not. But the big benefit to us was we got thousands of dollars back in tax rebates from the state to get it installed. And we have the benefit of knowing that we're helping the planet and producing solar energy and being responsible citizens.
Right, and that's huge. That's really important to a lot of people. It should be important to everybody, yeah.
So it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes from here on out. But yeah, certainly you do want to check in the company you're using. Are they going to check on the permits from the town, how much you need to be involved in, how much they're going to just take care of everything? We were fortunate where everything was pretty much taken care of, and the system works great.
So it's always good to interview a few companies in general in any home improvement process. And probably, of course, that's the same with this. Take your time to do your research.
And I think the prices have come down and the number of companies and choices you have gone up. So it's probably even easier and more cost effective now than ever. We're fortunate where we had almost no shade on the house. We've got a great big roof with good exposure. But now you can even make things work with land-based installations, or you can even rent plots that you don't own. I think there's all kinds of solar options besides your roof, but the roof is still an obvious spot.
Well, this has been really interesting and informative. I thank you so much for doing this. And if you, our listeners or our viewers, have questions or comments about it, please comment below, and I will get Dave to address those, and we'll try to get you answers anyway. And I thank you so much for watching today. This is Nina Sher and Dave Gordon from Delmar, New York, and see you next time.
Bye-bye.